And we're back with another Creative Moments interview with our, I think, what is this, our sixth interview so far? Here with our main man, Arminius Patterson, one of the best fashion designers in Jacksonville, Florida right now. How you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling great, brother. I'm blessed. I'm alive, man, so I have zero complaints.
I feel you, man. So, first questions first, man. What was early life like for you?
Man, grew up on the north side of Jacksonville, 45th and Moncrief Hilltop area. So very, very deep off in the urban community. Seen a lot of different things as far as overcoming adversity. And I think my last 2 years, man, my mom, was granted the opportunity to kind of let me see some different things. And I ended up going to Baldwin, man. And that's when I kind of finished out my high school career as a junior and a senior.
So how did you end up going to Baldwin? Did anything happen particularly, or was it?
Yeah, man, I had my fair share of not the best choices. Even in middle school, again, I was a product of that 32208, 32209 zip code, and a lot of my home school was Northwestern Middle School and Raines High School, Ribault High School. But unfortunately, at the time, man, those two schools had a consecutive school grade of a D or F. So then you do a thing called special assignment to where they kind of give you an opportunity to attend another school outside of your zip code. And I still just didn't make the best choices, man. So middle school, I got into a little situation, man, to where I had to go to Matty V as an alternative school. And then high school, similar, man, still trying to just make some better choices. But when we got the opportunity to say, let me see if I can change my surroundings a little bit and introduce me to some new people, maybe this may help me open my eyes to some new situations. So Baldwin was my junior year, and then I tore my ACL at the beginning of the summer going into my senior year. So that was just kind of like more of an adverse situation that we had to overcome.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what years were you going to Matty V? Like what years were that?
Matty V was 2005, 2006.
So what was Matty V like back in 05, 06 for like somebody who ain't from Jacksonville? That
Yeah.
What Matty V is.
Yeah, man, Matty, at that time, man, just to kind of paint you a visual, so Matty V was an alternative school for middle schoolers. However, the bus route, man, we were on a bus with high schoolers that attended Grand Park. So, we was exposed to a lot of advanced things, criminal intent wise. We were doing some things that most middle schoolers wasn't exposed to. And then also, man, walking through Matty V, man, you had your metal detectors. You had to ask somebody to kind of escort you to the bathroom. So kind of, I'm not gonna compare it to jail or a possible DDC situation, but not too far off, man. And you're in the class with other individuals who may have done some things that has got them in that situation as well. So you're picking up on their habits. If you didn't know how to gamble, or if you didn't know how to, let's just say, man, carjacking or robbing an individual, you may have a couple students next to you that's why they're at this school for some things that they did, and then they're kind of, you're sitting around those conversations, you're picking up on different things, and really it's just survival tactics, man. They're in survival mode, bro. So it's a lot of stuff that we just didn't know any better. But then there's situations that we did know better, and we just chose to, live that life in a sense as well. So that was Matty V, man. It was rough, bro, to be honest. 05, 06, the murder rate was extremely high in Jacksonville. And then just, even like I said, you're on the school bus with high schoolers, man. I was seeing individuals in 11th and 12th grade, man, just literally take a 7th grader money and when nothing he could do about it. You see what I'm saying? So that was like an everyday thing. I think it wasn't like white dress shirts, black slacks. Wasn't any backpacks allowed. You only had a binder. So everything you needed was kind of right there in that one setting.
Wow. So what was that culture shock like going from Ribault and Raines over to Baldwin?
Totally different, bro. Totally different. And if we want to be completely transparent, it still was some racist things that I had to deal with, in a sense, man, because you're looking at, I'm the minority in that school setting, and then it's also, man, you're the token African American child who could just run and catch this ball once the season is over with. You're right back to being where you come from, in a sense. So, man, you got to use them before they can use you. So if I'm using them for an opportunity to, whether it's better my education or networking or to get some sort of scholarship to pay for my college, I'm going to use that to the best of my ability. And then after that, that was it, man. So it was definitely a culture change from the north side, man. We're big on materialistic items. So fashion was real big at Reigns and the Reebok. It was kind of the total opposite at a Baldwin. You know, fashion really wasn't at the top of their priority list, man. So even that was a culture change. As far as school clothes, you know, I kind of stood out because I was just used to a certain standard when we're talking about school clothes. And even just being neat and clean and ironing your garments prior to wearing them to school, that was just something that was already instilled in me.
So it was no tall white tees and forces.
No, man. You had a couple of the guys, man, who may didn't look like me that were trying to adapt and have that certain look. But for us, man, it was 2 for $89s. You had your Filas, you had your Forces, you had the Jabos, you know, you did have the Lot 29 and the shirts, man. You may have had some Cool G in there, you know, if you really was doing your thing, but that was kind of it, man. And then the jerseys came in and they went too. So yeah, that was the kind of the style back then, man.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you really was doing something, man, you had a couple pair of Havana Joes, man. So those were running for like 200 a pop, and you just kind of felt like you was a little bit better than Jordan at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't talk about the Havana Joe era.
Yeah, man. I got a pair of Joes now, man, that I probably wouldn't trade them for nothing in the world. But you know, when I wear them outside of Jacksonville, too, people who don't know, they don't know. It's kind of one of those things you know, you know. Yeah, definitely.
Joe's definitely a Jacksonville thing.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
So, so let's talk about your athletic career at Baldwin. How did that go?
Yeah, it went well, bro. So my junior year, I was a wide receiver DB. I ended up picking up an offer from Georgia Southern because we went to a camp, did pretty good at the camp. We did well, man. And then, so again, me being me, not a lot of guidance as far as football field-wise, so I just felt like I was better then. And so I would miss a whole summer because I just thought I was that good. Like no workouts, none of those type of things. You know, we didn't necessarily have a back to basics of a Jaron Neesmith training and stuff like that. Say, hey man, come train me for the summer. It was just kind of like, man, you had your school workouts, but if you really wanted to be great, you should be doing school workouts and working out outside of that as well. So man, I just skipped the whole summer, man, and I'll just show up first day of fall, just kind of ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And the coach was kind of pissed off about that because I was a little arrogant with that, and that's literally how I ended up tearing my ACL. Man, they put me on scout team to kind of humble me in a sense, and was going up against some team. Man, they had like a D1 prospect, and I was on scout pretending to be him, and my back flap, the linebacker grabbed my back flap, and I tried to shake away, man. Then the other dude held me, hit my knee, and that's when the ACL came into part. So after that, man, it was kind of, where would I go from there? You get what I'm saying? You know, you miss your whole senior season. That one offer you did have, that's pretty much off the table, man. So Reigns had a career fair, and I just ended up going, literally just walking up there from my house, and school in Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, the oldest HBCU in the South, was kind of accepting students right there on the spot. I think I had like a 2-1, bro. I wasn't like a Rhodes Scholar or anything like that. Like, I just had like a 2-1, maybe a 2-2. And they brought me on kind of like a preferred walk-on type of deal. Went up there, made the team, but then I got kicked out of school. So,
what?
Yeah. I got kicked out of Shaw, man, my first year at Shaw, bro. Just, I feel like a Duval kind of mentality. Just like, man, again, I'm in North Carolina, man, country boys. I feel like these boys ain't better than me. Like, I ain't even got to do much. On top of that, man, I had a real bad gambling habit too. So my dorm room was kind of like the gambling spot. And then we got into it, man, with some local students outside of the campus and on campus who was from Raleigh. And big old brawl, man, led to the courtyard. And then they said we incited a riot. It was bad though. It was bad, man. They kicked in our dorm room door. You know, they was throwing chairs, man. It wasn't no firearms involved, but as far as like, it was like the whole 3rd floor and the 4th floor versus like, it was me and my homeboys from New Jersey, like me and 3 other cats from Jersey. We got real cool. So they said that was inciting a riot, man. We went to the board, had a board meeting. They expelled me. Then I had to write a letter to get back into school and pay some fines and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
So, after getting getting kicked out of school for the riot and everything? Like, how did they decide that okay, you incited the riot, or was it just like okay, everybody that was part of it got kicked out?
Man, that was the crazy part. It was everybody. Yeah, they ran the cameras back, and you can see the guys like kicking them a door, banging them a door. It's no exaggeration, like 12 guys on a college campus, not even in school. They don't even attend the school, bro. And they finally kicked the door in, and when they kicked the door in, we had to kind of just, we defending ourselves at that point. But then when they ran the cameras back, it was the night before we went out, and we got the best of them in the parking lot. But it was on school grounds, and they saw those cameras as well. So that was the deciding factor. Okay, cool. They saying you guys initiated this, Friday night. This rolled over to Saturday, and for that, everybody got to go home.
So was it like a gambling debt dispute, or was it just like a
no?
I don't like y'all, you don't like me?
So it started with the gambling. We hit. So there is like a CeeLo, which is 3 dice, and I'm used to 2 dice here. So when I got exposed to that, I just felt like it was a lot faster, a lot quicker money, man. And what we would do, financial aid, you would get refund checks. And then if you were a student athlete and they were quote unquote, if you had your certain grants or things of that nature, then the coach would give you like book money and stuff. So man, we was kind of witty enough to not use all of our book money, or if we would have some book money left, I can kind of barter and say, hey man, I can get you this sweater. Just give me the cash and I'll use my ID to pay for it, because I know I had extra book money on it in a sense. So we would buy certain items from the bookstore, man, sell it, and I got cash. You feel what I'm saying? Plus my refund check, which was okay at the time. So man, we had a nice amount. They had a nice amount, man, and we ended up winning a good amount that day. So we went out, had a nice time, but I feel like they were already upset about losing the money. Again, I'm not from there, so they already thinking Florida boy, he thinking this, that, and the third. So, that was, I feel like was embarrassing to them, kind of hit their ego a little bit. Then that night, we did get into a verbal dispute, and then we made it back to campus. It got physical from that. And then that next day, they came back with more people from the neighborhood, and then that's when it got ugly.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what to say, man, you don't look like your past gambling with the with the book money.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And again, to be transparent, gambling started maybe at like 11, 12. Like so it's crazy. I've always had like an entrepreneur mindset. Like I was selling candy in elementary. So my principals, my teachers, but at that time, you're not thinking entrepreneur. You're just saying like, hey, I'm gonna buy this for this price and I'm gonna sell it for this price. You know what I mean? And then the profit, I'm gonna just double up and buy some more and I'm gonna sell it for this. So, but then again, you might be saying, you might gamble on pencil break. You may gamble, playing flips or pinch. Who can get the quarter closer to the wall? And it start off as a quarter. Then you get to $1. Then you're doing $5. And then the more money you make, it just exposes who you really are. So now that I have a large sum of money in a refund coming from a school, it's like, okay, cool. I'm really finna just gamble. Not like I've never had this amount of money at one time. I don't know how to manage it in a sense. So yeah, man, that's something that has always been with me. But I've been delivered from it now. That's why I can speak on it, man. And even now, I just try not to put myself in those positions. You know what I mean? So I'm not perfect, but when it comes to gambling, man, it's so many ways. They got apps and casinos. Then you go into the bookie and even all those things, man. To where it's like, man, I don't even need to be in those spaces, bro. DraftKings, it's promoted, you know what I mean? It's everywhere, bro. So it's like, you don't think it's a big deal until, man, you like, dang, bro, I'm kind of, you get to you like it. And especially if you win, that's how they lure you in. But, the odds are not in our favor, bro.
Yeah. House always win.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Definitely.
So, after you wrote your letter and all that to get back in the show, how did it go after that? Did you get back on the team? Were you?
Yeah, bro. So I came home. I worked at like every warehouse you can possibly think of, like temp services, remedy staffing, and Football Fanatic warehouse, and like Sally's warehouse, Coach. Like I worked at all these different warehouses, and I'm like, bro, this ain't it. Like this ain't it, bro. It's hot. Y'all got me lifting these big ties and throwing it. Man, this ain't it, man. So I was like, man, let me focus. And I think the fine was only like $300-400, bro. I'm like, man, I could have saved this up by now. So I wrote the letter, and I had one of my professors, Dr. Palmer, ended up vouching for me, who was still a good mentor of mine, man. He came to my wedding and everything. He wrote a good character letter for me, and my pastor at the time wrote me a character letter as well. So sent my stuff off, man. They let me come back. So now I'm kind of like, I'm really a full year behind in a sense, or a half year behind. So I come back, talk to the coach. He kind of understood in a sense, because he was like, man, he used to play in the NFL. Like, man, I used to play in Jacksonville. So I get back on the team, man. To me, man, I just wasn't patient, to be honest. Like, if I just had somebody say, hey, man, wait your time. So, like, things were just moving slow. Like, I'm not on the field. You know what I'm saying? I never suited up for an official game. Like, you looking at me like I'm a quote-unquote troublemaker. So, man, after that, yeah, man, I like, man, this football ain't it, bro. This ain't it. So I just kind of became, known around the campus. Had got me a little job at Jimmy John's, and I still was gambling, but I'd take the money from Jimmy John's, gamble, go to school, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, feeling like a troublemaker and it moving too slow, that's what really made you just hang it up and be like, I'm done.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That was it, bro. It was just like, then it's politics. Like physically, it wasn't that I can't perform. It's just, man, we got this guy, we got this guy. This guy might be a senior. This guy, I recruited this guy, so I've promised him that he gonna play. And then, when you got a little smut on your name, like, you just gotta work extra hard. I just ain't want to do it. Like, I just ain't want to do it, bro. So, it like I say, like, it really wasn't that I couldn't play. If I can do it over, I just wish I would have just been patient. And when my time would have came, like, okay, boom, now this it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have been training this whole time. Like, even though I would come on for the summer and still work out. I work out with Jaren. I work out, man, make sure I was in shape. My number was called. So I think the last time I left, it was the spring, probably the spring of 2010 was like my last time. Like, man, I'm gonna see what this be like. You know what I'm saying? If it work out, cool. If not, but I was still like, my best friends are people who was on the team. So it was guys who were like, yeah, boy, Duval cold. Like, it was just, once you get that label on you too, it's kind of hard to shake it, to be honest. So after that, I'm like, man, I ain't with this, bro. Like, I still rock with you, boy, but I'm just gonna do something else. Gotcha. Yeah.
So when you left the team, was it like a meeting with the coach saying, hey, coach, I'm packing it in, or did you just be like, all right, y'all, and just leave?
That was another thing. I left, I hit it. I just like, nah. So that's another thing. I'm big on relationships. That taught me, like, bro, don't burn certain bridges. Like, you got to be a man. I could have won and say, coach, but this is how I'm feeling. And he gonna say whatever he gonna say regardless. You know what I mean? But I ain't even get that an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, nah, this shit ain't. So I started missing a couple practices, or I show up late. So that's not helping me. You know what I mean? So yeah, it got to the point where it was like, yeah, boy, I ain't even finna come back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you start your fashion designing path in college, or when did that start?
Yeah, I started the bow ties in 2015. So I think like my senior year, I started the bow ties, because I was in a transition. Like, I started to dress up more around campus. I just started looking, I don't know, man, like a light bulb just hit me. Like, my mentor, Dr. Palmer, like, he always wore a suit every day as a professor. And then I had a class with him that started at 8 a.m., kinesiology class. If you show up at 7:59, the door was locked. So he taught me about being punctual. So then I'm like, okay, boy, I got to be here at 7:45, 7:50. But I just always liked the way that he carried. I liked it the way that people respected him for his attire, and then who he was too as a man. So I'm like, cool, man. So I started going to like thrift stores. Like, man, I'm gonna get a couple jackets, you know what I'm saying, a couple shirts. Then I found a tailor who can take them in for me. But then I'm like, that's a lot of money I'm spending on alterations. So I started kind of like looking up YouTube and like how to tailor your own clothes. Like, bam, I can just take this shit in myself. But at the thrift store, I was getting sheets, pillowcases, like different materials to make the bow ties. I was making the bow ties and I was selling them to like the fraternity, selling them to my professor. I was selling them around campus. Like, selling them was really how that and then like virtual styling people. Like, that's how I was really getting some money. Like, I was virtual styling clients back in Jacksonville, and he won prom king in 2015. He won prom king, and then that next year was when it kind of started to like bubble. Like, hey, I'm looking for the prom guy. I was still in Raleigh, and then I'm looking for the prom guy. Then I had moved back home, so I had like 8 students reached out to me, and I just styled them, bro. I charged them. It's crazy. I was looking at the numbers yesterday, bro. It was $350, and you got a jacket, pants, shirt, bow tie, and shoes. You got everything for $350. With I always did a GPA discount, so you probably was paying me like $275, $300 for a whole suit and the shoes. So it started in Raleigh with as a bow tie company, just custom made bow ties. Then I had some polo pajamas. I cut them up. Everybody really liked it though, because like I ain't never seen different colors with the horses and stuff like that. So I cut those up, and I would start making bow ties and selling them like that, man. And then my first wedding was actually Neesmith was in the wedding. Melvin Weber got married, and they got the black tuxedos for me. And I didn't make any money as far as profit, but they covered the cost for me to get the black tuxedos in. And from that day, I kept renting out those same black tuxedos, bro. I'd take them, get them clean. And then when I started making money, I just doubled up how many I had. And then I ended up ordering some gray ones. Because I was looking at Men's Warehouse and like the colors that they had. And other suit coming, I'm like, okay, cool, I need to get navy blue. It took me a while, I'm like, okay, I got to get khaki or tan because that's another color. So then I started adding the vests, the different colors, like per wedding, add different vest colors and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I built up the tuxedo rental component of my company as well.
Okay. So you say you were selling to the fraternity. Did you end up pledging in college or?
No, I didn't end up pledging, man. I'm part of one of the greatest fraternities though in the world.
What's that?
Christ. So like my brotherhood is, and I have some of my closest friends, they're in fraternities and things of that nature, man. I just think at that time, it just wasn't for me. Like it wasn't. Then you gotta think too. Like I'm changing my mindset. Bro, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. These boys stepping, jumping, hopping. Like then I ain't know the significance of the fraternity of a true brotherhood. So I'm looking like, man, these boys green. Like man, these boys dancing. I'm not doing that, man. And and then you hear certain things until you like I was ignorant to a lot of stuff. Like man, you finna chastise me if I don't know this, if I can't do that, and I gotta go run and do this. You know what I mean? Like I didn't understand the sacrifice and the time the boys were putting in. Don't look at it now, have a different outlook, a different respect for the boys too, because it take a lot to do that. That's why, if you notice, you got some people who are paper or cat who kind of go, a certain route, and they may not have did the same thing that other individuals did during undergrad. So it's a respect that I have for both parties though, whether you went, grad school or undergrad, man, you still made a choice and you living with that. So I respect what they got going. It just wasn't for me.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, it wasn't for me either. I think I was in the Duval mindset as well. I couldn't see no other man.
Yeah,
hitting me with nothing.
Right.
I'm finna join your fraternity, but
right.
I gotta go through all this.
Correct.
Why I can't just be part of it? You know what I'm saying? So, my next question is: did any of your connections from being an athlete help out with your business?
Definitely. So even now. So even now, man, just being a former athlete, certain terminology, certain things that make you relatable. So when I'm selling a suit to an athlete, it's like a different conversation. Like, yeah, we talking about fashion, but I can relate to him too. You know what I mean? So a lot of connections, man. I keep saying Neesmith plugged me in with a lot of people, bro. The first NFL client I got was Chris Jones. Neesmith trained him. He called me and said, man, I got Chris up here. I'm finna train his ass out. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna train the dog shit out that boy. And then I'm gonna call you. That's exactly how it went. He trained him that day. He called me. I don't know what I was doing, but I stopped everything. I had already had like sketches and stuff on my iPad. And I had the fabric in my car because I knew an opportunity. I had to be ready if that phone ever did ring. Just like an NFL person who a free agent. Well, if that phone ever rang right now, you gotta be ready to go. You don't have time to start training. Then it's like, okay, man, I can't make this day to know. This man got a schedule, you got a schedule. So when Neesmith called me, boom, I got up. I measured him right at Neesmith gym. I think we made him like 3 suits that first go round. Then he ended up coming back and getting like 6 more or something like that, man. So definitely, bro, relationships, genuine, authentic relationships are more important than money.
Very true, my man. Very true. Okay, so you were saying that you had a gambling problem in your developmental stage as a man, your early young man days.
Right.
So right now a lot of different players are getting suspended in the NFL for gambling.
Right.
Do you believe that players should be able to gamble?
I don't think they should be able to gamble on their team or in season. I don't think so, man. I just think it's different, bro. I feel like if you're playing in the season and like in your sport, like if you in season and you trying to, I mean, well, it depends on if you're on a team right now actively playing, and you saying, man, I like us to win. I'm sure you do, but I feel like once the money get involved, then they may think, let's just say you have a bad game. Now they're saying, well, hey, did you throw the game? Did you intentionally not perform well because somebody's paying you more money? That just causes another problem, man, that I don't think should be a part of the NFL. But at the same time, it's hard to tell them no because the NFL promote gambling, DraftKings and fantasy football. Like, it's just all around. So why can't it's crazy they can allow people to bet on them, but I can't place a wager on my own performance, or I'm not reaping any of the financial benefits for this big organization betting on me. So I think they should put some type of verbiage in the contract, man, that allows them to bet or something like that, man. I do. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I think they should, man.
So, do you think they should be able to bet on other sports? Because right now it's like you can't bet at all.
Yeah, I think they should be able to bet on other sports, bro. Like, I'm in the off season and the NBA coming around. Like, I'm just a human, It's people bet. I don't understand just because I'm an NFL player or I'm an NBA player, like I can't bet on somebody else. I don't understand that. Why not? I can't go to the dog track or I can't bet on my favorite NFL player, my favorite NBA player or a hockey team, MLB, just because I'm a part of the Atlanta Falcons. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree, man. I feel like if you promoting it, I feel like the people that's being bet on should be able to bet as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Because I feel like, shoot, I would want my favorite player to put $100,000 bet on himself. He's trying to win the game.
Yeah.
He gonna play hard in that game.
Yeah, that's my dog. Like, I'm showing you I believe in you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, boy, I like y'all. That's what. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Definitely. So, biggest names you designed for?
Biggest name.
Biggest name.
Anthony Richardson.
Oh yeah, I remember that. You sure did.
Yeah.
You designed his suit for draft night, didn't you?
So the day after draft, actually, so when they introduced him to the coach, like literally when he left the draft to get on the plane and go be introduced that press conference, we designed that one. Anthony Richardson recently is the biggest name because he went number 4 overall. So first rounder, number 4 overall pick, 9 times out of 10 gonna be the starter for the Colts. Yeah, that was the biggest name, bro.
Gotcha.
That was the biggest name.
How did you end up with that connection? Are you just that known now in the suit game?
Nah, man, just you network, bro. Like, you don't take no. If people really knew like how many calls, how many emails, like we did, and it was a lot of people of who you know. So it was so many moving pieces, bro, that I can't thank everybody enough. I don't want to miss anybody, but so a guy was getting married named Marcus Clark. Marcus got married. Marcus, I think, he's from Gainesville. Anthony was already on our board of people we wanted to go after. So I had already sent like a couple emails to Anthony's agent and his team. I didn't get a response. So one of them on Facebook, Marcus comments under a post from Anthony's agent. So I'm like, dang, he must know the guy. So I called Marcus like, hey man, your suit almost ready, but also I see you comment under this post, do you know? He's like, yeah man, ain't no problem. I can call him. I can text him right now. He texted the dude. The dude was like, okay, we're interested. Let's set up a call. This is, again, you got to stay ready. I jumped on the call with the first agent, kind of just told him who I was, where I come from, what I'm doing. Probably was 2 minutes, bro. He said, okay, cool, sounds good. This the email, send everything to this email. We sent another email, no response, but he had another agent. Them two end up talking, like, man, it's a cat out of Jacksonville, he trying to do it. We had a suit coming out of Jacksonville reach out to us too. The whole time he talking about me both times. So now we get on a third call, me and both agents, and that's when they tell me, like, hey man, he already got somebody doing this draft suit, man. He's very loyal to this person or this company already. Like, no problem, man. I said, man, I'm not gonna do anything against my morals or unethical. I'm not gonna down talk another company. I just want to show you guys what I got to offer. I said, well, they said, well, we need some suits for draft night too, the agents. And they end up scheduling an appointment, man. Then they called me the day before. It's like, hey, man, what you think about doing the suit for the press conference? I was like, definitely, we can do that. But I had already researched I know where Anthony Richardson worked out at. I knew what high school he went. I did his one of his friends in high school. I did both of their prom suits. So when he came into my office, I'm showing him pictures. He like, dang, bro, you did this, you did this. I'm like, yeah. He's like, dang, that's crazy, small world. So he ended up FaceTiming his mom or calling his mom, and I showed her the suit that I had already sketched out for him. She was like, man, I really like that. And he was like, man, I'm gonna bring my brother to you for his 8th grade formal, which was the same year. So he brought his little brother back, which they have a great relationship. And then yesterday I just talked to his stylist. And, we just put some stuff together, man, for the season. So it was a lot of moving pieces, brother, to lock that deal in. But you meet genuine, authentic. He's a humble guy, bro. Like, chill, bro. Like, and then too, I tell people too, right? So I was born in 1991. So everything that I'm going to do, everything that's going to happen to me, the mistakes I'm gonna make, the grace God gonna give me, it's already wrote. So like, that was predestined to happen. Like, this was predestined to happen. Anybody who I work with for the rest of the season is already gonna happen. Now, some things I tell people, faith without works is dead. So we can pray, we can manifest, we can have affirmations verbally, but faith is a verb. Until you get up and physically do something, it's not gonna just fall in your lap like that. Now, you do have situations based upon the legwork that you have done prior to that'll say, hey, man, I seen the interview that you did, and I love what you said about this. I got a client for you. Yeah, but that's because, too, you gave me an opportunity to do an interview. We agreed to it, and I physically got in my car, and I came to your studio, and I did an interview. So, you still have to put in the legwork. Social media does help, but you can't rely only on social media. Like, you have to get out, bro. You got to when we came to the event, the Kicks and Connections, like, boom. Just imagine, you said you had been emailing me. My assistant, for whatever reason, I never saw the email, but just imagine if I would never came to that event, or if you wouldn't have came to that event, I would have never met you in person to get me here today. So I would want people to understand, man, we also have to get up, man, and you got to put the work in, and don't take no for an answer. Just keep going, bro. You got to keep going.
Okay. So one thing we like to do over here at Creative Moments is pocket watch. What was that Anthony Richardson money looking like, man?
It was all right, man.
Come on, man. You can't give me a range of what it was looking like, man.
So I'll give you this, man. So our average suit, like we start out at $12.50, like just coming in, and that's no different from a 9-to-5 worker or NFL age person. Like, the difference is with certain NFL people, it's the demand that drives the price point up. Like, they may need something in a week, they may need something in 2 weeks. So just like if you expedite a pair of shoes, or if it's a pair of Yeezys that haven't been released and you want them, like, you're gonna pay an extra amount to either get them early, or if they're vintage, you're gonna pay an extra amount because they're so rare. So certain stuff, when it comes to them, I saw, and I don't charge this price, but I saw a suit company in Cali, man, they charged Juju Smith-Schuster $10,000 for a suit. And he got 2 of them, so he paid 20 bands for 2 suits. That was okay, in my opinion. It wasn't really too crazy. But yeah, so it's in between like $12.50 and probably $3,500, bro. So it's and that's nothing. I will be transparent about that, because I want individuals who come from where I come from to know, in the event that one career doesn't work out, like, this is a lucrative career, but in the same sense, I'm 7 years in. I just told you I was charging $350 in the beginning. Like, we charging $350, and now we at, on the low end, $12.50, bro. So it's, then we do certain weddings. We averaging about, 4 weddings a month now. So that's not counting, if you bring your whole wedding party to me and then they decide to rent, I rent tuxedos for like $250, $300. So if you have a wedding party of 10, that's a nice payout for me. And then if I'm really, really good, I'm getting the whole wedding party to go custom. Now we're looking at a nice bit of change, bro.
That's nice, man. That's
Yeah.
Beautiful, man. I thank you for answering the question. Some people wince a little bit when I pocket watch a little bit.
Yeah.
Over here at Creative Moments, if you get a Creative Moments interview, we pocket watch a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, at what point where you like, all right, man, I could turn this into my full time thing, and this could be my business for real, for real.
So 2020, I told my wife, I said, man, I'm gonna give it 2 years, and then I'm gonna have to make a choice. I have to go full time with my company. I was a school teacher at Reebok Middle, and 2 years turned into 2 months, cause I got fired in 2020 the first time. They fired me from my background. It's crazy. I appealed it with the Department of Education in Tallahassee. I won the appeals. I came back, worked for the school. They fired me again for the same thing, and that was like, that's it. Like, I went home, completely transparent, bro. I cried in front of my wife, and she was like, your season is up. Like, you're trying to be a part of something that they don't want you to be a part of, and God got something greater for you. And from that moment, and it's so crazy how it works, that next morning someone called me, was like, hey man, we want to offer you a position. It's paying like $48,000. And it's, school teachers at that time, bro, I was making like $39,000, $40,000. So like $48,000, your degree that you got exercise science or work. And I had to say I'm not interested, because it's like, you got to be obedient. What did God just show you and just tell you? Like, I don't want that for you. I'm not meant for that, bro. Like, I had to just come to grips. And it makes sense now, but when you're going through it, it's like, dang, boy, what's all this? But I had already faced so much adversity to where it was like, there's got to be God working for me. I know he got something planned for me. I just got to stay patient and stay still. I got to stay still right now, bro. If I move too fast, I'm going to miss what he got for me. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to act outside of his will. And that's what we do just as humans. We trying to figure it out on our own, in our own strength. And he already has it worked out, bro. So when they fired me that last time, I probably make more than the principal right now. Calling spade a spade, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Clap it up for that.
you feel me? I probably make more than that boy. Ain't no direct shot at him, but it's like, keeping it funky, like, man, I probably make more than that boy. Like, and it's entrepreneurship, some months it's gonna be, prom season's gonna be up, and then it may not be as lucrative in other seasons, but that prom season will carry me through, if I did hit like a drought or something. But I'm drinking from the well of Christ, bro. So I've never went dry, bro. To God be the glory. Like, I've never missed a payment. I've never had to borrow anything, man. Like, I'm in a good position to give back. Because again, like, we've worked hard and God has blessed us to do these things. And it's not to flaunt, like, it's just me. Like, nah, bro, we all have an it factor in us. Once you tap into the ultimate source of God, he'll give you what it is. People, this is just resources in a sense. Like, networking is just a resource. The job at the school is just a resource, bro. The ultimate source is God. And once he bless you with it, again, since 1991, I was already predestined to be who I am. And now I'm just walking in it, bro. I'm just walking in everything he got for me. And not that every day is easy, but you got to think, like, bro, you got people who homeless, people who don't have a job. So when people say, how you doing this morning? But my tire could have just went out, but it's like, I got a car. So I got a spare tire in the trunk. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm not dead. You know what I mean? Yeah, boy, man, my check was kind of short. Hey, you got a check, you got a job, you got income. You see what I'm saying? Man, I met a dude, boy, I ain't got no food. So, like, once you get that perspective and that mindset, like, a lot of things really not gonna bother you, bro. But you look at it from a different lens on, like, man, I'm just grateful. So that was that moment though. Like, that's probably one of my biggest blessings. Like, cause I would have still been in the 9 to 5, and I'm not downing people with a 9 to 5. I'm not saying that, but for me, it's a cap on what I could have did. Even me being in the hallway helping certain students, I have to teach from a curriculum, from somebody who's made something whose students, their kids don't even learn from this curriculum. But you want me to teach my students in my zip code? I'm not doing that. So when I'm voicing my opinion, you become a little bit too vocal. You become a threat to that system. Now they got to find a way to strategically get you out of there, and that's what it was. But now I'm in a position to help more students than I ever did. You see what I'm saying? I can say, hey, oh yeah, man, this young man doesn't have the money for prom. I know you want to go because it's one of the biggest things in our community. I can say, don't worry about it. We're gonna make it on the house. Or I got a scholarship in my mom's name. You don't got to worry about your travel expenses going to Bethune-Cookman, man. We're gonna take care of that. On top of that, man, we're gonna go ahead and take you to Walmart, man. Just get everything you need for college, bro. Just put it in the buggy. Like, those are the type of things that I'm afforded to do now. But if I was still at the school, making whatever they were just gonna give me, that's my salary. That's all I can make. You see what I'm saying? But now there's no cap. There's an overflow, bro. And anybody who was genuinely around me, I feel like in our community, man, I don't have people around me who have like a crab in a bucket mentality. Like if I'm in an overflow, everything that's flowing from my cup is gonna run to them. And I've been up under people who had an overflow, who've blessed me and still bless me to make sure I'm okay, because I'm up under them and they cup running over. And I'm just catching their blessings. So when you surround yourself with a group of people who genuine and authentic, have a relationship with Christ, they doing well. They just not riding your coattail or vice versa. They got their own motion going, man. Those are some of the best people to be around.
From your teaching days, what do you think was the exact moment where you were like, okay, I'm gonna be fired, or what did they tell you were getting fired for?
So I think every year, every 2 years, you gotta renew your badge or your ID, and you get level 2 background fingerprinting. So when I got my fingerprints, it was on a Friday. Then Monday came. It was kind of like, hey man, something kind of came up. But we need you to come downtown to the school board. I was like, cool. But they said you can't come back on campus until you get this situation resolved. So I go down there, man, and they say, we see something on the record, but it's sealed. So they can't see what it is in a sense. So I'm like, yeah, it was sealed. I was 16, and at that time I was 29 when they first brought me downtown for that. So I was basically telling them, yeah, it's sealed for a reason. They're like, yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna need to see what it is. So I called my attorney, man. I basically told them what they were looking for. He was like, man, they can't do that. And I'm like, well, they're doing it, because at that time they had already terminated me before even necessarily opening up to see what it is. So they made a decision like, hey, in the state, no, they said in Duval County, you can't be a teacher with a misdemeanor battery charge. So when I was 16, I was facing a felony and a misdemeanor. And then I pled guilty to the misdemeanor so they can drop the felony. And so I said, okay, well, I'll go teach in Nassau County then. She's like, oh, well, no, you can't teach in the state of Florida. So I was like, what? So she showed me the statute and the papers. I said, well, can I appeal it? She was like, no, this is something that you can't appeal. So I called my mom, let her know what was going on. She's like, it's gonna be all right, whatever God got for you, But at the same time, I'm still like, this is crazy, like, this shit wild, you feel me? So I actually ended up like just doing some research, man, and I appealed it. I went 3 months without a salary. So all I had was the money I had from my bow ties and suits, and then I started working at Hibbett Sports. So that kind of helped me out. And they never gave me any money back for them 3 months that I missed. I won the appeal, not with Duval County, but Department of Education in Tallahassee. I won the appeal. I came back and I was teaching. And then maybe like a year or so later, man, I had to get a new badge. And the same exact thing came up. But this time, my supervisor was like, hold on, he has like the paper to show he won the appeal, and I did. So I was so traumatized, bro, no exaggeration, I would keep a physical copy in my glove compartment and a digital copy just screenshot in my folder on my phone. And it came up, man, we were on a Zoom call, and I emailed them the paper. And this lady was like, yes, this is good. Unfortunately, if you see the last line on this appeal that he won, it says the final decision is left up to the school district discretion. And we as Duval County, we deem you ineligible for hire. And at that point I was 30, I think I was 30. So they was like, we deem you ineligible for hire. So I'm like, I said, well, man, you deem me ineligible, somebody who, I do suit drives, I'm big on community, I got a scholarship, I give back, like you deem me ineligible? She's like, yeah, Mr. Patterson, I know exactly what you do in the community, it's all fine and dandy, but according to the statute, we deem you ineligible. And I knew then, like, something in the milk ain't clean, like there's something behind the scenes, or, cause I just didn't, I haven't had anything since like a seatbelt ticket, since 16 to 30. So my biggest thing was no one looked at what I did over 14 years to try to fix something that I didn't do at 16 in a sense. And it's like, come on, man, this is crazy. But those are the systemic issues that we kind of face, coming from where we come from, looking the way that we look, man. And yeah, it was that day that, and I think it was more so embarrassing, man, because they escorted me off campus, and I got students who felt like, when I go back to the school, man, they said, Mr. Patterson, you left us. But they don't know, they can't understand what really took place. They just knew they came back to school and I wasn't there. So now they got a substitute. Like, dang, Mr. Patterson, you left us, but that was green. And I had to tell them, like, now that I'm not working for the school, like, nah, this is what happened. I'm Mr. Patterson, they green for that. They green for that. But see, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, like, about systemic racism and about how I need you to go and learn different things so you can change these laws, bro. Like, somebody got to change this stuff. That's why I was so vocal. Like, they put my face on the newspaper, man. They had a lady interview me and told me it was about one situation, but then her headline was something totally different, but she used my face for it. So now, think about it. Think about Kaepernick. They blackballed him from the league for what he stood up for. So now when I go to apply for a different teaching job that I see is open, bro, I had principals like, oh no, we just filled the spot. But I have other people who working at those schools like, nah, bro, we need a teacher right now. Like, ain't nobody here, bro. I'm like, dang, I just sent my resume. She said the spot full. But I'm like, this is crazy. Then I go to, like, let's say Jeff Davis across town, send them everything. Once they see my name, bro, it was like, once they saw my name and put it with the article, it was like, nah, we don't want to touch them. Like, that went on for like 6 months, bro.
So, how long were you teaching before you had to renew your badge, or like before that became a problem?
3 years. So I was like, I'm like 3 years, bro. They terminated me, brought me back. So I did like a total like 4.5 years, maybe. And I'm gonna tell you what's just so crazy. Like, I worked with people who had a real deal, like, worse record than mine. Like, as an adult though. You talking about juvenile for me, I'm talking about as an adult, we have people. You sit on the news now, man, you got the dude that Douglas Anderson. Man, he's been, in my case, what I had wasn't nothing dealing with like pedophile type stuff at all, bro. This was battery. This was getting into an altercation type of time. Man, you got teachers who have touched students inappropriately. And you guys know this, and y'all still let this person keep his job for years. Like, he been doing this for 10 years. See what I'm saying? And then it's like, in my situation, I'm like, well, dang, so I'm looking at all these different things play out. Like, dang, bro, this is crazy. Like, people got DUIs and coming to work drunk, and, you know, not that I was trying to dry snitch or nothing like that. Like, I'm gonna take my lick. I'm gonna take whatever come with this. But in the same sense, it's like, bro, if this gonna be the standard, let this be the standard across the board. Like, don't hold one person to this and so, yeah, you can't do this. But then in the same situation, you turn your eye to when this person is doing something triple time the way he done did. But that's how it went, man. It's all a part of the plan.
So, was there any stigma at first transitioning into being a fashion designer? Or was that like something you would call yourself other than a fashion designer at first because you didn't want to go by the fashion designer name?
Yeah. You know, so one of the statements that like people kind of try to throw on you too, especially when you're a male in fashion, they just assume that you're a homosexual. And that's because most of the fashion industry is ran by homosexuals. So, you know, that's something that, man, like, even with the fashion show that we're doing, you got 2 black straight males putting on the show. Like, people be taken back by it. And I'm like, what's the big deal? You know what I mean? Until my wife explained to me, like, a lot of designers, like Dolce & Gabbana, Christian Dior, Versace, you know what I mean? Like, them boys, they chose to live another lifestyle. So, man, for a while, man, it was just like, man, okay, cool. I'm just gonna be who I am. I make clothes for all people, black, white, straight, like whatever. Like, I just like making clothes. And before I was a fashion designer, I wanted to do like, it's called visual merchandising. So when I was at Hibbett, like, a lot of the mannequins or how the store would be set up, I would do those type of things. So like, people come in like, well, I like that fit on the mannequin. I wouldn't say I put it on there, but I just take note, like, okay, boom, he liked the way this was. The pants went with this. Like, I was doing a lot of that stuff. And I did it for different stores. So it wasn't just my store. So I kind of learned like visual merchandising first. And then also, besides the fashion designer, like, man, I'm a stylist. But then more so than anything, I'm like, man, I'm a mogul. Like, I started telling my wife, like, man, I'm a mogul. Like, that's why I got my own cologne as well. So it's like, man, there's no limits on what you can do once you tap into who you really are and that it factor. So while most people are like, man, he a tailor, he a fashion designer, like, oh, that's the bow tie guy, that's the prom guy. I done heard all type of stuff, bro. I'll be out, man, you the prom guy. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. But I'm not the prom guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a guy, bro. I'm a guy from Jacksonville who this is gonna be a global brand, and no offense to anybody, they're like, well, you know, you like the hottest in the city. I'm like, bro, I'm like the hottest in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like the world, Craig. the world. They need fashion in the world, you feel me? But I don't ever want to disrespect them, but in my mind, I'm like, bro, I've surpassed the hottest in the city 2 years ago. Like, if we want to look at numbers, and this is going against Men's Warehouse, this is going against K&G. Both of their managers have came to me like, bro, what can we do around prime time specifically to get our numbers up? Men's Warehouse doesn't cater to our audience, that's for one. They have the same color schemes. Then K&G, it's like the fabric is just cheap. You know, it's a lower price point, but you get what you pay for. So they'll never be, you know what I'm saying, in my lane in a sense. And other custom suit companies in Jacksonville, everybody have their own it factor. So I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday. I missed the call yesterday. Like, I was supposed to call this dude back. So now today, I got to make it a priority to be better than yesterday. I'm going to call whoever I say I'm going to call today. That's my only competition, bro, is being better than yesterday. If I was late for something, I got to be better today. If I ain't do X amount of sketches that I was supposed to do yesterday, I got to do it better today. I'm not looking at nobody else and what the boy got going on. Like, I salute everybody what they doing, but hottest in the city, I was hottest in the city 2 years ago, man. Like, this is a global company. Not to say I'm overlooking Jacksonville, I'm always be appreciative of what they afforded me, because I was doing house calls. People accepted me in their homes 5 years ago, but I'm 7 years in. I've paid my dues as a designer, but it's something different that Jacksonville is not used to seeing. And I'm okay with starting that here. Everybody want to get up and leave. I'm gonna go to Atlanta, I'm gonna go to LA. Cool, I'm gonna stay right here. I got other representatives in those areas, but the base is gonna always be here. The market is growing. Everybody coming to Jacksonville. That's a gem for anybody who's trying to leave right now. By the time you come back, whatever you love, they're gonna tax you almost 3 times for it. So it's best for you, like, build your foundation here, network, get to people who not can just afford your product, but who values your product. We all can afford something, but if I don't value it, I don't care about it. I'm not gonna tag you in, I'm not gonna reshare it, I'm not gonna tell anybody about it, because I don't value it. I don't value your service. I have the money to pay you. I can pay for just anything I want. But if your service don't go with it, and you call it a luxury item, and the service and the quality doesn't match, I'm not gonna play the price point on it. It's just not gonna happen. So.
Gotcha. So it's 2023 right now. What do you see Audacious by Arminius in 2030?
2030, Audacious by Arminius will be in, by 2030, but we'll be in like another 10, 20 states. The goal is to have one in every state, and then countries. So, like, I've been to Dubai twice, going back. If I can go every year, I would, but we'll have one in Dubai. And we'll save this clip, and I'll come back, you know what I mean? Be like, dang, you really got one? Yeah. For real. Like, that's the goal, bro, a global brand, man. The more we make, the more we're gonna give. Definitely we got a dappership that affords opportunities to high school juniors and seniors to come in and learn the industry. It's paid, you make money by the clientele you bring in, you learn how to style, you learn how to sketch, you learn fabrics, you learn how to measure. And the ultimate goal is to equip you, man, to give you something outside of the norm. You can't be what you don't see. Exposure is key. So I just want to expose the guys to something different outside of athletics and entertainment and gambling and drug dealing. So if I can give you a golf club at 2 years old, I can only imagine what you're gonna do at 12. That's it.
If you could go back and do anything at all differently, sitting from where you're at right now at what, 33, 32?
32.
At 32, if you can go back and do anything differently over your career or life, what would it be?
Probably, man, I wouldn't change anything, bro. And you probably hear a lot of people say that, but I wouldn't change anything, man. Any wrongdoings that I've done, I've tried my best effort to correct. So if I've hurt anyone or mismanaged funds or did anything, man, I've given them a call at this point. Any missed quote unquote opportunity or anything that I've made an error on was supposed to happen. So I don't, man. I cannot honestly go back and say, dang, if I would never did this, even with my situation, if I would never went there, that wouldn't have happened. But everything was supposed to happen the way that it happened. And now, I'm not saying that because it makes sense now. Even when it was happening, I'm like, it got to be something greater on the other side of it. Like, this ain't happening for no reason. I don't know what the reason gonna be. You got to think about it, bro. I'm from the north side of Jacksonville. I started a bow tie company. How many people I've never seen Easter? And if you go on the court, then when I went to Matterville, it was the only time I seen somebody dress up and going to church. So it's not like I learned that from my surroundings. So where would I get the thought, I'm gonna start making bow ties? Then I even told my mom, like, yeah, mom, I'm gonna start, I think I was charging $15 a bow tie. I said, mom, I'm gonna start charging 30. She looked at me like, you sure? You think people gonna pay? Man, it's a dude in New York, D-League leather, this man charged $250 a bow tie. So it's like, dang, but where would I have that esteem about myself to even say, I'm gonna charge this? $1,000 a suit. It's, you know, people be like, boy, I ain't finna pay that. It's people who don't even flinch, bro. I meet people who be like, man, I thought you was gonna say $2,200. That's it. I had a dude from California, no exaggeration, bro. His suit package was like $1,500. He said, oh man, I was ready to pay 25, 26, man. He's like, none of He's like, man, I just look at your page, man, your stuff that nice, you know what I mean? But again, you gotta understand the dynamics too, and also understand price points and audience and where he's living at. The cost of living is higher in California as well, so everything is probably higher, you know? And then again, in Atlanta, they're used to paying certain prices too. But in Jacksonville, we got the same people, bro. It's some wealthy people here. And wealth doesn't always, we're not talking about money, we're talking about mindset. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't change anything, man. I think, man, everything I've been through, everything I'm gonna see is predestined. And I'm grateful for the journey, bro. My destination already set. I'm just enjoying the ride, man. Every day could be something different, man. But you just gotta enjoy it, bro.
Gotcha. Okay, so I gotta ask you a fashion question. Fashion advice for a